Our shadow will fall with wicked damnation. Rise, my nation. Rise! Can you dig it?
No score can settle our history with these enemies from the south.
Chucky.
They may have taken our so-called fearless leader, but the deceptions do not stop there, my flock. Oh no. Chucky! They have taken from us that which is rightfully ours, that which defines us all! Listen, we have taken something from them of far greater significance.
We have taken their vicious Sunday silencer.
I am the Knight Rider, your fuel-injected vengeance machine. I am the rocker. I am the roller. I am the out-of-controller. Come with me, my brothers, to the field of war. 2 teams enter, 1 team leaves.
Oh, believe my flock. This is your nation. This is our nation. This is the Raider Nation. Rise! Rise!
I don't know about the rest of you guys, but I'm not doing any game from here. I'm too scared. Let's get out of here before dark. They will play a game here, however. Pat Summerall here with Joe Theismann and Paul McGuire. And welcome to ESPN's Sunday Night Football again. And this ought to be a dandy. Joe, if you like old-fashioned football, we ought to see a mess of that tonight.
Oh, Pat, if you love old-fashioned football, this is exactly what you're going to get tonight. Remember those days of old when the Raiders used to throw the ball down the field? Bombs filled the air. Well, Rich Gannon has 3 touchdown passes that average over 46 yards a reception. And remember those Tampa Bay Buccaneers, before they ever had any offense, everything they did was dominated on the defensive side of the ball. Well, unfortunately, those days are back as well. They have yet to score an offensive touchdown. Raider football bombs away. Tampa Bay football, bloody your nose. God, I can't wait for this one.
Old-fashioned football, and really the heart and soul, Paul, of both of these teams is defense. And 2 of the best defensive players ever were teammates on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, Warren Sapp went to 7 consecutive Pro Bowls with Tampa, and now it's hard to believe that he has an Oakland Raider uniform on. But make no mistake about it, he is their leader, not only with his mouth, but with his play on the field. And I would imagine tonight he's going to raise some havoc with Tampa Bay's offense. On the other side of the ball, Mr. Brooks. I'll tell you, this guy, 7 consecutive Pro Bowls. Derrick Brooks is the quiet leader of this football team. He has 5 returns for touchdowns. That's in his career. Now, if I were the Oakland Raiders, I'd be very careful about throwing the ball in his direction. And, oh, by the way, Derrick Brooks will be wired tonight.
Strange is how Tim Brown describes being here tonight in anything but silver and black. Mr. Raider for 16 years until they cut him loose in the offseason. No doubt, emotions are high.
I'm sure the first time I step on the field, man, it's going to be, very emotional and very weird, being in a different color. And, certainly the last time I step on, I'm walking off the field, it's going to be something that I may take a moment to look around, just to say, because I don't know what I'm going to do next year. I don't know if I'm going to play again, and even if I do, the chances of coming back here playing are not that good. So I'm going to soak it all in, man. I'm enjoy it and just trying to have a lot of fun.
Tonight he'll savor walking off this field for likely the very last time. He also hopes to savor touchdown catch number 100, which would put him in elite company. He'd be just the 4th player in NFL history to do it. He believes the stars are aligned for it to happen tonight. Don't miss his shot at history.
Back at Network Associates Coliseum, one of the captains out for the toss of the coin for the Raiders was Warren Sapp. So
He got big hugs from everybody,
yes,
too.
Yes, he did.
This has got to be an incredibly, I mean, just the emotion that's going on inside of him. He knows he's wearing silver and black, but for 9 years, he wore orange and white and pewter and all those colors that represented the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
In his own words, he built that franchise. And I think, in his opinion, he did.
Well, hey, you think about he built that franchise. How about when you look at
Tim Brown?
Excuse me. Bugging me. But Tim Brown, you talk about helping build a franchise. This guy was here for a long time. It's got to be, I mean, it's really got to be in their guts. You're going to see these guys a little nervous tonight.
Sebastian Janikowski to kick it off. Torrey Cox is back deep. 5 yards deep. He's going to bring it out. And with some room, a pretty good return. A determined return, my goodness. Ray Buchanan, Matt Stinchcomb, the ex-Raider, a new father, anchors the offensive line for the Buccaneers. The wide receivers, Bill Schrader, the ex-Packer. Tim Brown, though, the ex-Raider. For 16 years, he wore this color. Now he's in that color. Charlie Garner, also an ex-Raider. In fact, all three of those we featured are ex-Raiders. John Gruden loves him. And he's the deep back. Tim Brown in motion. Garner. Only a couple. Stopped by Tyler Brayton. Raiders defense anchored by, I guess you could say, Warren Sapp, although Ted Washington has a lot to do with it. But Sapp up in a hurry by the Buccaneers. That's Garner again. Here are the 4 linebackers. DeLawrence Grant had a big game last week. He's the biggest linebacker, we think, in the NFL, 280 pounds. Charles Woodson, the key and anchor in the defensive secondary. It is third down and about 5. Ball's at the Tampa Bay 29-yard line. Brad Johnson back to throw it, gets it outside. First down yardage to Allstott and more.
Brad Johnson, of course, starting this game today, got pulled in last week's game and wasn't very happy. Felt like there was a quick trigger, but hey, he's not going to argue with John Gruden. And these are the kind of things that they're going to have to do. They're going to have to complete third down passes and keep the chains moving to try and create field opportunities, field position opportunities for the Bucs. They have no explosion on the offensive side of the ball in the wide receiver position.
They have no backs. Allstott split wide to the right this time. Quickly outside, Garner again. Charlie Garner tripped up.
Boy, I'll tell you what, did he get an excellent block by Michael Clayton, number 80. This ball was tossed to the outside, and this is a rookie, Clayton. You really have to, I mean, watch this guy. Look at number 80. Bang! He gets it. And here comes, look at Sapp.
Wow.
You think Sapp has got some speed? He catches Charlie Garner from behind.
Yeah, I think Warren Sapp's going to play the game of his life tonight. The Super Bowl was a great experience, but tonight is going to be the game of his life.
This is not a bad offensive effort for a team that hasn't scored a touchdown yet. Allstott.
Charles Woodson.
Tampa Bay has struggled offensively in the first 2 football games. They've just not been able to mount any kind of drives. They got the best one in this game tonight. You see that 17 drives, just 3 points and 3 turnovers under Brad Johnson. Of course, he was pulled for Chris Sims, who played most of the ball game last week.
What do they consider the red zone? 20?
Yeah,
so they're not in there yet.
Not quite yet.
2 tight end setup. Johnson back to throw it. Had some time. Incomplete. Intended for Jameel Cook.
And you know, from a Tampa Bay offensive standpoint, you just have to be able to complete those passes. There's so much pressure on Brad Johnson to make it third down and 4 as opposed to third down and 9.
Do I need to tell you it's a bright, sunshiny day?
And Gruden stuck in the sun looking out for about another 15 minutes.
This is the situation that's killed the Buccaneers. Too many third and longs. But they're in field goal range. Brad Johnson, quick fire. Tyler Brayton batted the ball down.
You know,
I thought it was caught by somebody.
You know, this is, look at Tyler Brayton get up in the air. This is the best defense you can have to help your secondary. Once you see the guy go to your knees, you know that they're going to try to throw the ball quick, get up in the air fast.
The last thing that Norv Turner, the head coach of the Raiders, told us when he left the meeting on Friday with us, he said, we want to stress to our defensive linemen, because of their Tampa Bay short passing game, get your hands up and start knocking them down.
From 36 yards out, Martin Gramatica. Has to be Cozy Coleman's first reception ever. Gramatica is good from 36. And so the Buccaneers break on top 3-0. All set up by Charlie Garner. And that scamper by him. Caught by Warren Sapp. Buccaneers lead at 3-0. 8 plays, 58 yards. They kept the ball almost 4 minutes. Pretty impressive offensive effort. Settled for 3. And now Gramatica will kick off. Deep are Curry and Gabriel. 2 of the young speed receivers. On the bounce by Gabriel. Display some speed. Gramatica not going to get him. Finally down at the 30-yard line. And a fumble, and Buccaneers are saying we got it, and they do have it. Will Allen made the hit that knocked it loose after a 74-yard return.
Well, you know, you have 2 young guys back there, and these are their speed guys now. Gabriel and Curry. And just take a look at this play. Going down, now, the ball is out. There is just no question that the ball is out by Gabriel. And Tampa Bay, you know, when they play defense, they play it very well. When they play special teams, they also play it very well.
David Terrell looked like he had a shot at it, but it wound up in the hands of the Bucs.
You're saying a 74-yard return is good special teams?
Well, what I was saying is at the end of it, if you still hustle and make a play and turn the ball over,
right.
Yeah, it is hustle.
They got the ball.
The Raiders have challenged this. What caused the fumble?
I think they might want to challenge also whether the ball was inbounds also.
Right.
If it had hit the sidelines before it was recovered.
The ball is out. There's no question it's a fumble.
But did it touch the line?
And it looks like Ryan Neese, number 56, ran out of bounds before he caught it.
After reviewing the play, the ball did not touch a player while they were out of bounds. There was a legal recovery by Tampa Bay inbounds. First down, Tampa Bay.
You know, it's really hard to overturn it, Joe, when you have an official there. There's an official standing right there. He's watching the ball.
No, but to be honest with you, I thought that Norv Turner on the sidelines, because it was in front of the Raider bench, it sure looked like that ball got close to the sidelines. I think it was a good decision.
Yeah.
It turned out the officials did a good job of officiating the play.
Charlie Garner is the lone setback. Garner gets the carry straight ahead, picks up 1 or 2 perhaps. Ted Washington, the mountain in the middle. Let's go down to Susie Colbert.
Well, Pat, John Gruden's hours at the office are legendary, but no matter how much time the mad scientist spends in the lab, he only has so many ingredients to work with. I mean, just look at all that firepower that's been lost. They're still searching for an identity on offense.
Tampa Bay going no huddle, so they're out quickly. Brad Johnson has time, finds a man.
I'll tell you one thing, when you look at all the guys that are missing, you're looking at a lot of scoring power. These guys, and when you look back at this football team, Joe, they don't have any speed left.
Well, just to give you an idea, Keenan McCardell had 84 catches. Michael Pittman had 75. And, of course, Keyshawn Johnson, who was let go, he was the 3rd leading receiver when he was released the latter part of last year, had 45 catches.
That was Ken Dilger who made that reception. And here's Johnson back again with good protection. And it all broke down at once.
Oh, man, I tell you, this is the best pass defense in the world. When Brad Johnson looked downfield at his receivers, every single one of them were covered. He had absolutely no place to throw the football. Watch how quick he'll pull this thing down. He's going to come back. He looks right. He looks back to his left. There is absolutely no one open, and then the door closes. He can't get to the line of scrimmage.
Akbar Bajabiamila.
Hey,
You got the sack. I know I got it. I know his brother.
AGB. Got KGB and AGB.
Short kick. But a good bounce. And continuing to bounce in Tampa Bay's favor. Rolled down all the way inside the 20 for a 54-yard punt. It wasn't that good. But that's the result. Rich Gannon. Tim Brown, the 16-year Raider stalwart, talking with his quarterback, Brad Johnson.
And you gotta remember, these guys haven't spent a lot of time together, so that kind of communication on the sideline is vital information for Brad Johnson, because if Tim Brown sees something, maybe they can hook up later on in the quarter.
Zach Crockett and Tyrone Whitley. And Whitley gets the carry. And he breaks into the secondary. Still on his feet. Whitley could be off if they can't catch him. Whitley to the 30. Close to the 20. Down at about the 21. 62-yard game by Tyrone Whitley.
Boy, this is exactly what Norv Turner was hoping for. You're talking about one of the best run defenses in football. Big job up front. Nice cut. They just maul the front line. And what a horrific job of tackling by Tampa Bay. Jermaine Phillips, who replaced John Lynch. This is the kind of stuff you cannot have happen. He's the man they were counting on. Now watch what Tyrone Wheatley does. He knows he's not going to outrun anybody, so he puts two hands on the ball to protect it.
Justin Fargas takes over as the running back. Same play, it appeared, and good yardage again. Shelton Quarles. The offensive line, Robert Gallery, the #1 choice, and he is huge and is going to be good for a long, long time. Jerry Porter has taken over as the leader of the wide receiver corps, replacing Tim Brown and Jerry Rice. And Rich Gannon is the leader. His responsibility is to get him in the end zone. More of a timing passer than a great arm. Fargas again, the deep back. Gannon. Lofting deep. Incomplete. No flag.
Now, the only thing that happened here is they got their feet tied up. Jerry Porter got tied up at the corner. And this is just an excellent player sitting back there. That's Brian Kelly out there in the corner, number 25. Watch it. Here goes Porter. Now he got his hands in 5. Well, you know what?
He can't touch him.
I know he can't, Joe. And he's touched. No, he touched him before this, but the guy gets his hand in and knocks the ball away. I guess they're only looking at the end of the play now instead of after about 5 yards.
3 wide outs. Buck showing blitz. Gannon from the spread. He doesn't like that too much. But the pass to Rice is enough for a first. Jerry Rice did not have a reception last week.
Yeah, but, you know, I had a chance to talk to him after practice on Friday, and he took such an unbelievable, in my opinion, positive attitude. He said, first of all, with the streak being broken, he said, that's no big deal. He said, I'll just start a new one. And he said, you know what? I haven't really caught a lot of balls, only 2 coming into this game. But he said, you know, as this season goes on, I will make myself a bigger part of this offense. And for Rich Gannon, this is the first time in 3 years that he's been able to run any kind of a pass offense out of a shotgun.
He's gained more yardage than my car. Incomplete. Crockett. The Buccaneer defense. Anthony McFarland becomes the anchor in the front 4 after Warren Sapp is gone. He and Simeon Rice, Derrick Brooks, great linebacker and a great person to go along with it. And if there's a big play to be made, Rondé Barber will make it. or he'll be involved in somehow.
I'll tell you, that pass to Jerry Rice, I was really impressed with this offensive line of the Raiders. I mean, nobody got off the line of scrimmage for Tampa Bay.
Amos Zeroe is the deep back. Gannon with pressure coming. Incomplete.
Well, Rondé Barber that time. First we saw Brian Kelly on Jerry Porter. That time we get a chance to see Rondé Barber on Doug Gabriel.
That's Kelly.
I'm sorry, excuse me. Brian Kelly does it again. Getting pushed around. And this is a departure for Tampa Bay. Monty Kiffin, their defensive coordinator, had talked about changing up a little bit. They've always been a Tampa 2 cover 2 team. Now they've gone to a little more man-to-man and a little more pressure up front. A little bit of a different look from the Bucs, trying to force the issue.
J.R. Redmond is the deep back. Gannon scrambling to the 5.
Oh, man.
He may have the first down.
I know that he's got
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. I beg your pardon.
He's got a headache.
Derrick Brooks.
We talked about Derrick Brooks, who's the silent leader of this football team, and all the things that he does. Now, you want to see a head-to-head hit? Here comes Derrick Brooks, 55. Watch this. Bam! And that Gannon has got a headache because he went, look at this. And you are?
Believe me, he knows who he is.
You are, and I am.
I tell you what, he's about 2 inches shorter than he was, too, when he took off.
Sebastian Janikowski rips it through and ties the game at 3. 5:36 left to play in the first quarter at the Coliseum in Oakland. No, 3-3 tie. Janikowski's kick handled by Schrader. Oh, let's go down to Susie Colbert.
Well, Pat, we saw Rich Gannon get rocked on that last series, and they've taken him into the locker room. He told us the other day he has so much invested in this season from a personal standpoint. He's worked so hard to rebound from last season's shoulder surgery. He lost weight so he could move better. He's had to deal with critics and the addition of another top-notch quarterback in Kerry Collins. Gannon hoping to have the best season of his career, but he knows now, with Collins in the shadows, it's week to week. Kerry Collins is warming up, and we'll see him on the next series.
The Buccaneers with Brad Johnson. Chris Sims replaced him last week. Charlie Garner is deep. Garner hammers it into the secondary. For his size, he runs as hard as anyone in the NFL. We have Derrick Brooks, by the way, wired. Let's see that last hit on.
That after hold it, he's hurt. And I mean, quit celebrating. I like that, man.
He realized he was hurt. Timeout, Buccaneers. Brad Johnson heads over the sideline with his team tied with the Raiders at 3. The good old Sunday stud. Vote for today's top performance. John Carney, Jamal Lewis, Peyton Manning.
Those numbers for the quarterback.
Look at Peyton Manning. Here's Allstott. Airborne, trying for the first down.
He's got it.
Close to it.
He's got it.
There's a guy who's coming back from neck surgery. Only had 6 carries in the first 2 games. I ran into him in the tunnel on the way out tonight. I said, Mike, you going to carry the ball some more tonight? He said, yes, I am.
I hope you didn't really run into him, did you?
No, I just bumped into him. I'm tired of running into things now.
You bumped into him and he shot you into the middle of the field.
He looked at me like,
Charlie Garner, the lone setback. Brad Johnson gives to Garner.
Oh, man.
Flag on the play. Loss on the play.
I think the Raiders lined up offside.
Napoleon Harris made the hit. And, I mean, it was a jarring hit on Charlie Garner. Tony Corrente, by the way, is the referee.
Illegal motion, offense, number 88, moving forward at the snap. This penalty is declined. Second down.
Ex-Raider Ricky Dudley.
Well, let's just take a look at the hit. Watch this. You know when a guy gets hit hard. Napoleon Harris hit him is when he goes the other way.
And his feet come right off the ground.
And he's running with the football forward.
Hurry. Tyler Brayton.
Now that should be intentional grounding.
Applied the pressure, and you're right. I think it should be.
That call should be. I believe he should throw the flag up.
They had Charles Woodson on a corner blitz on that play, and no one picked up Tyler.
And had thrown the ball near the line of scrimmage. Third down.
He was still in the pocket, and he threw the ball near the line of scrimmage.
He said he called him outside the pocket, Paulo, and the ball was near the line of scrimmage. What I appreciate is the explanation. That was very good.
Now, you see Woodson 24 coming from the outside, so they let Tyler Brayton. It's the closer guy to the quarterback is the guy you pick up.
He wasn't outside the pocket.
I said he wasn't.
Tim Brown in motion. Quick pass to Garner. And Garner is elevated and dropped backwards by DeLawrence Grant.
These linebackers of the Raiders
watch this.
remind me.
Here comes Tim Brown in motion. Now watch this. Charles Woodson. Bam! He doesn't get off the line of scrimmage, Joe.
Well, Tim Brown's in his 17th year. If you bang him, how far is he going to go?
Josh Bidwell back to punt. Cover people were right there. Philip Buchanan trying to make the return. 45 yards flag on the play. 45-yard punt.
45-yard punt on the play.
There is no foul for offensive holding on the play. It'll be first down.
Let's go down to Susie Colbert.
Pat, some good news for two running games that had struggled. They are on the move tonight. Charlie Garner with a 31-yard run to set up a field goal to make it 3-0. Tyrone Wheatley answered. A 60-yard run. Janikowski put 3 more on the board. But the bad news for the Raiders, Rich Gannon, a mean hit by Derrick Brooks, taken to the locker room for x-rays on his back. And Tim Brown talking up his quarterback, Brad Johnson. What adjustments can they make so Brown can record touchdown number 100? Stay tuned.
Here's Kerry Collins, the ex-Giant, ex-Saint,
and
ex-Carolina.
The Raiders got a 5-yard penalty for having too many players in the huddle, so it'll be first down and 15.
Well, Collins comes in and everybody wants to go out there with him.
Yes. Hey, Kerry's going. Why can't I?
Collins, incomplete.
Kerry Collins is somebody that Norv Turner and Al Davis really love having around. He's got the big arm. They've added speed, young speed to the wide receiver position. And this is the kind of football that the Raiders have wanted to try and get back to, throwing the ball down the field. Kerry Collins has that kind of an arm. Talked to him before the game, and he said the toughest thing here is that you just don't get a chance to practice a lot being a 2.
Second. Collins tears it out, complete. Jerry Porter. 17-yard gain.
Well, here's a guy, Jerry Porter, that waited a long time to be the #1 guy here. And when you take a look, what do you say, Collins doesn't have enough time to practice? Watch this throw. How much time do you need to get the ball out that quick? That is fast. And an excellent run after the catch by Porter to pick up the first down.
Porter's a big, strong guy.
And he really is, and he's relishing the opportunity to start. As you mentioned, Paul, he waited a long time between 2 Hall of Famers to get his chance.
And now he's become the #1 receiver. Collins to Wheatley. And Wheatley a couple.
Well, Pat, you see, he's the #1 receiver, except the only problem with it is this is the last year of his contract, and he doesn't really think that he will be here next year.
Well, he doesn't know. You know, it's funny. I said, is the fact that you're going to be an unrestricted free agent a motivating factor? He said, no. He said, what's motivating to me is the opportunity to finally get a chance to start having earned the right to be there. And he's gone through a lot. I mean, he has really, really suffered and stayed behind Tim Brown, stayed behind Jerry Rice. Now's his chance to shine.
Wheatley again. Hammers ahead.
You know what? It's a 3-3 game. And there are people that say, I'd like to see offense. But I love to watch a game like this.
This is offense.
I'm telling you, they're being very offensive, the defensive guys towards the offensive guys. I mean, they are really hitting down in the trenches. I mean, in the middle where the big guys are. Not where the little people are, where all the big guys are.
They're on the dirt.
You got to play in the dirt.
Oh, yeah.
He did
play in the dirt.
We did when we were kids.
Wheatley again surges into the secondary. What happened to Tyrone Wheatley?
Norv Turner's always liked one back. In every offense that he's either been a coordinator of or a head coach of, they've been successful. Emmitt Smith from 91 to 93, Hall of Famer. Stephen Davis, unbelievable, helped Carolina get to the Super Bowl last year. LaDainian Tomlinson, the best back in football considered by so many people. And then, of course, Ricky Williams, the couple of years he had him in Miami. And now Tyrone Wheatley, even late in his career, having an opportunity to be able to do things.
Zero away. Hit the pile and broke away from it.
Well, this is when you talk about quick feet, and this is what Amos Zeroaway gives him. He hits the hole, back to the outside.
That's the end of the first quarter with the score. The Buccaneers 3, the Raiders 3. Well, a lot of people ask the question, because he came pretty much out of the blue, why Norv Turner? Why did Al Davis hire him?
I asked Al that question the other day on the phone. I said, why Norv Turner? He said, I didn't want a dictator nor a disciplinarian. I wanted a guy that knows football, and he went around the league and he asked people about Norv Turner. He liked what he heard, and that's why he hired him.
Here's Kerry Collins. A lot of time. Flag on the play.
A little pushing and shoving going on.
Well, the officials are throwing flags, and then they're trying to talk to each other, and in the middle of it, they're both teams.
Chardick Darby, he's going to get in the middle of it.
Help him make a decision.
Well, you think of Tampa Bay's defense. This defense is built on speed. Monty Kiffin wants guys that can run. They're not 340-pounders up front.
Illegal contact against an eligible receiver. Defense number 20. This penalty is declined. The result of the play, first down.
For more on Norv Turner, here's Susie Colbert.
Well, it's a good thing that Norv Turner is no stranger to a quarterback controversy. Of course, last year in Miami, he had Fiedler and Greasy in Washington, Hostetler and Farrat, Johnson and George, but he never had the situation where two quarterbacks had both been to the Super Bowl, and he said the key to surviving that is two character guys. He's got that in Rich Gannon and Kerry Collins. Kerry knew if he sat and he was patient, the future was ahead of him. Well, that future may be right now.
Also, Susie, Kerry had a chance to go quite a few other places, but he chose Oakland because he felt like this was going to be the right kind of spot for him in the future. Because, Richie Gannon's in his 17th year. You just got to figure there aren't a whole lot of years left. But yet, even though Kerry Collins has played 10, he's got to be looking at another 6 or 7 at least.
Collins' last completion to Doug Jolly got 4 yards. Wheatley. Here's the 25.
It was very interesting the other day talking to Rich Gannon about the defense of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And he was talking about that these guys, you don't get big chunks from these guys. They play everything close to the best. Everybody knows exactly what they're doing. They don't gamble. They're in their position. And again, they have some new players on their football team. It just doesn't matter.
And certainly Rich Gannon knows what this defense did to him in the Super Bowl a couple of years ago.
Destroyed him.
But this is an entirely different offense than the one that the Bucs prepared for in the Super Bowl.
3rd and 2, Wheatley.
Got it?
Close to it.
Jimmy Ray, the offensive coordinator of the Oakland Raiders, now has this game set up the way he likes it. Norv and he both want to run the football first. Established runs. You see 84 yards already out of Tyrone Wheatley with the one big one. It sets up the play-action pass. And with the speed and size of these wide receivers, be a perfect opportunity once they get down, if they got this for a first down.
They got it for a first down. If it touches that line, the 23-yard line, it's a first down.
So you're saying they made it? I said this is your first one this year.
What did I tell you?
Okay.
Did they make it?
Okay.
You know, he's been questioning me, Pat, for a long time.
Who has?
This guy over here.
How dare he?
Yeah. That's what
I was asking the question.
No, you.
Not questioning you.
Raiders overwhelming numbers on rushing yardage.
I think this is a
total yardage.
Great situation for Jerry Porter.
Collins looking in his direction. A little out of bounds. Flag on the play. Brian Kelly, the defender. John Gruden saying, what the heck is going on?
And the officials are going to have a discussion now. A little bit of a huddle among the officials.
That ball was way out of bounds.
Flag will be picked up. There is no foul in the play. Second down.
There you go, Patrick. Thank you.
But why?
The quarterback was out of the pocket.
Right.
It's a rollout.
Yeah, but I mean,
well,
you can cut him if the quarterback's out of the pocket. You can cut him.
Yeah, but you can't grab him and tackle him going for the ball. I mean, I don't think it matters whether the quarterback's in the pocket or not. If the ball's in the air, you have to play it as a pass.
Here's Wheatley again, and he got only one. Stopped by Derrick Brooks.
I'll tell you what, you may run at Derrick Brooks a couple of times up that middle, but if you think you're going to make a living off of running at number 55, you're wrong. Watch him read. Watch him fill the hole. Derrick Brooks in the hole, underneath, making the tackle along with Barber.
Keep in mind, Doug Jolly, who tried to block him, number 88, is really his strength is pass receiving, not necessarily run blocking.
This is the 13th play of this drive coming up. Collins has Wheatley behind him. Looking for Zach Crockett, the fullback. No chance.
Well, that isn't who he was looking for. He was looking for a whole lot of other guys besides Zach.
That was his last glance.
So you're looking at great pass defense again. They're not going to let you get deep on them.
Hey, these are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah.
In 02, they were #1 in the red zone. In 03, they were #2. And coming into this game, they were tied for first. So this team knows how to keep people out of the end zone.
Janikowski from 40 yards this time. And he puts the Raiders ahead, 6-3. About the kind of game you would expect from these two teams.
A couple of Chucky dolls hanging high here.
Janikowski to kick it off. Torrey Cox. Back to about the 32-yard line, where the Buccaneers will try to go to work on offense. Brad Johnson will remain the quarterback. Johnson, quickly. We asked Warren Sapp what it feels like to be a Raider.
I know it's going to sound a little crazy to you, but I'm still a Buck, but I just wear silver and black. I mean, because that's in my blood. I mean, I built that place from the ground up. I mean, you have to understand. I mean, for a long time, that's all I ever known. And it's different to be able to I can't turn 9 years of my life off just like that.
Wide open was Bill Schrader. 54 yards pass completion from Johnson to Schrader.
You know, Warren Sapp, it doesn't make any difference what uniform he's wearing. He's going to give you 100% every single down. But I'll tell you, this one here got to make him a little bit mad, because Bill Schrader is wide open going down the middle of the field. If he was led, he scores.
You don't get much more open than he was. So the Bucks are at the Raiders 16, 1st and 10. Allstott is the deep back. Johnson fakes to him, rolls right, throws it away wisely.
That big play that Billy Schrader just caught, it really caught the secondary in coverage. There comes up on the play action fake. That's Buchanan. Ray Buchanan, who's, watch number 34, left part of your screen. He doesn't deserve to be there. Billy Schrader runs right up the field. This is sort of new this year for Ray Buchanan. He's replaced Woodson in that secondary, Rod Woodson, and I think he's got a little bit more to learn. Just a little bit, huh, Paulo?
Yeah. They get to Allstott, and Allstott bangs out a couple. Napoleon Harris made the stop.
And Napoleon Harris and well, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 9 straight quarters without an offensive touchdown, and now they are in the red zone. And, you know, it doesn't get any tougher. You know, Brad Johnson on the play before this, we had a bootleg. Joe rolled out. There was nobody out there. I mean, there was nobody to throw the ball to.
3rd and 7.
And he's not going to take off and run with it.
No.
We have 9 quarters. Do I hear 10?
You're an auctioneer now.
Brad Johnson back, pumping and throwing and out of the end zone. Bill Schrader, the intended target.
The Raiders on that series did a terrific job of covering anybody that goes out in the route. That's Denard Walker. There's the corner route. Just looking at the quarterback, playing it back, and then looking back. Where's he going to go? Okay, should I go to Tim Brown? No, Tim Brown's getting stopped right at the line of scrimmage by the linebackers, not letting him go. Danny Clark was not going to let him out into the route.
Martin Gramatica. This one's 30 yards. He was good from 36. Martin has ceased celebrating as he formerly did. Hurt himself. 6'6". John Gruden, yesterday when we talked with him, he spent most of the day staring into space. You could tell that this 0-2 start, was not setting well with him. Gramatica to kick it off. Doug Gabriel is deep. And he brought it back 74 yards last time. And he's got an alley again. Good return out to the 37. Stopped by Rondé Barber.
John Gruden. Warren Sapp said something very complimentary about him in our meetings on Friday. He said that you can't underestimate John Gruden because he will scheme something. He said he may not have the players, he doesn't have any explosive players on offense, but don't ever underestimate his ability to scheme his way to success. And I think it's very astute. The man spends hours trying to scheme completions.
I know we had to visit with him at 7:30 in the morning. I've never met a coach at 7:30 in the morning.
A flag on the play.
Unless you were coming in.
No, this one I wasn't coming in.
What was that?
Nah.
Don't repeat it?
No, he's doing all right. He got hit in the head with Gannon.
Illegal motion. Offense number 87 was cutting upfield prior to the snap or at the snap. 5-yard penalty remains. First down.
The one thing he couldn't scheme was how to keep Warren Sapp. John Gruden told us how he had coped with the Bucs' recent disappointments. We'll have to cope in just a second. The Raiders are out and ready to go. Collins. Doug Gabriel made the reception, 30-yard gain. Strike from Gary Collins.
Well, you just have to respect speed. As good as the Tampa Bay Bucks are defensively, when you get so much speed, watch the left part of your screen. That's Jerry Porter going right down the middle. He takes 2 Bucks with him. He takes the safety and the middle linebacker.
All right, let's look at their number 1 drafters, Robert Gallery. I'm going to tell you what, they love this guy. Robert Gallery, I ask you, why would you take this guy number 1, a tackle like this? They've talked about, every coach ever talked about this guy, about his feet. He's got great feet, he's very smart, and he's got more hair than I have. Or ever had. Ever had.
He got great feet, but he also got some huge shoulders. I mean, he covers from hash mark to sideline. I can't tell you what I'd do for you 2 guys.
Well, we appreciate that.
I'd do anything.
Would you jump offside like Derrick Brooks did, trying to time the snap count?
I would think so.
Warren's yelling at his buddy.
Well, Derrick's laughing.
I'm sorry.
Offside, defense, number 55, unabated to the quarterback. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Warren Sapp is going to rib him a little bit, but Derrick Brooks, you think he's a little anxious? Watch this. Now watch what he does when he gets inside. Oh, no.
You know,
he does the right thing. He touches the quarterback and doesn't let him go through with the play.
We talked about class, too. We've seen other times guys come through and just blow the quarterback up. Well, you know, he knows he's offside. Go play again.
Collins. Wheatley. Let's listen again to Derrick Brooks.
Let's go have some fun, man. Let's go dominate. 1, 2, 3. Dominate. That's us, baby. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. What's up? You ain't going nowhere. You ain't going nowhere.
I love that. You ain't going nowhere. He already went 25 yards. He went somewhere.
He's in the backfield making tackles. He's down the field making tackles.
Wheatley. Enough for a first. Jermaine Phillips made the stop.
I mentioned this before, but I think it's important to understand that this is the type of football that Norv Turner loves to run offensively. He wants a big back. He wants a back to be able to pound and pound. He wants to draw the safeties up so he can get one-on-one coverage outside and give his receivers a chance to work down the field.
We said what? The day before yesterday, Coach, who's going to be your running back? He said whoever averages better than 5 yards stays in. That's right.
Wheatley's averaging just over 10. So he's the running back. Whoop, he just hurt his average.
No, Tampa Bay just hurt his average.
Well,
Jermaine Phillips.
You know, Monty Kiffin, the defensive coordinator of Tampa Bay, has gotten more and more aggressive with the linebackers. We've seen Derrick Brooks come in a little bit more. We've seen the safeties get a little bit closer to the line of scrimmage. Everybody's always talked about Tampa, and they rely on their front 4, and they drop the 7 in that Tampa 2, and give me a middle linebacker like Shelton Quarles to be able to run down the middle. Well, now they've decided they want to bring pressure.
Three wide receivers. The Raiders and Collins. Quickly. That was well covered. Lucky that one wasn't picked off.
Brian Kelly and Barber both were there, and they're looking at each other. That ball should have been picked off.
Yep.
See, and I don't think that's Kerry Collins' strong suit. Now, Rich Gannon's got quicker feet and can make that throw. Kerry Collins takes a little bit longer. The ball comes in a little bit late, and Brian Kelly almost has a pick. I think Kerry Collins is a quarterback that you drop him back 5 to 7 yards. You let him throw the ball 12, 15, 20 yards down the field. That's more his strength.
When he came out of college, that was one of the things that people were concerned about. It took him a long time to wind up and throw. He is a 7-step guy, you're right. Juggled, batted around, but incomplete.
You know, we talked to Simeon Rice yesterday, and he said, tomorrow's my night. It's my night. I'm going to show you everything I've got. I'm going to show you all my skills. Well, he's got Barry Sims on the outside. Watch this. Here's Simeon. Now they came back out. Not only did they block him with one guy, they came back to the outside with Middleton.
He said the thing that bothered him was somebody chipping him.
Yeah,
that was
a 300-pound chip.
This is 45 yards out for Janikowski. A little bit more than that.
And off the dirt. That's the difference. Off the dirt.
No good. Let's go quickly to Chris Berman.
All right, Pat, thank you. Saturday nights are right for fighting. Sunday nights are right for field goals. This is Jeff Reed, a 40-yard field goal, and then dry Miami in the first quarter. And then the monsoons came. A hard rain going to fall, babe, late now in the second quarter. 3-0 Steelers. Pat, you dry?
We're dry in Oakland.
Do you have a feeling watching this football game, gentlemen, that the team that scores a touchdown wins?
Yeah, I do, but I also think that this is the kind of game that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers need to play in. They have no explosiveness on offense. The longer this game stays close, the better the Bucs are going to feel.
I got a feeling that's going to be a long time. Nobody's going to break it open. Garner dancing and juking, but nothing doing.
Charlie Garner hurt his knee. Charlie Garner tried to make a plant, and the knee just slipped out on him.
Yep.
Oh, he's grabbing it now. Gosh, you hate to see that.
We saw that happen with Philadelphia Buckholder. Here's Charlie Garner there. Look at the it just goes. I mean, he's not even hit. He's trying to make a move back.
And on this game special, too, for Charlie Garner. He was here in Oakland. You know, he had knee surgery.
That's a terrible thing to see.
Back, who's been on a 3-game suspension next week. So they have a half of football to try and figure out what to do.
Well, now, you remember the Oakland Raiders just got a penalty?
12
illegal
players
substitution.
In the huddle. 5-yard penalty remains second down.
Here, and I'll tell you, Warren Sapp was jumping up and down, and he spotted. He said, wait a minute, you got too many guys in the backfield. Jamal Cook, number 43, was in, then left the field.
There are certain things that Frost coaches.
Yep.
I think we just found another one that Frost Gruden.
He can look sad, but he can also look mad. Johnson back to throw it. Mike Allstott gets some of it back. You wonder, he's had surgery, Allstott has. You wonder how concerned he is about his neck and his shoulders.
I don't think it's bothering him right now. You know, he's thinking about making a play. But when you look at him, when they throw the ball to him out in the flat like that, and you're on defense, and you see this guy, he's got shoulders as wide as a truck, and you know you got to hit him, and you better not go in there lightly. You better take him on.
Third down and long. Johnson going long. No flags so far. Incomplete. Michael Clayton was the intended receiver.
Michael Clayton, their number 1 pick out of LSU. He is the guy, if you're going to say, Pat, one guy that has the speed on this Tampa Bay offense as far as their wide receiving core goes. He's the one. Up the field. Look at the range. That was Schweiger. Look at the range that he covered. He's a third-round rookie out of Purdue. He just came flying across the field.
Josh Bidwell with his back to you. Philip Buchanan on the return, 37-yard punt, 7-yard return. Flag on the play.
You know, on that last pass play to Clayton, Joe?
Yep.
Brad Johnson could have run the ball and picked up the first down, but he does not run. When he got back out to his left-hand side out here, there was nobody there, and all he had, I mean, he could easily have picked up the first down, but he has one receiver downfield, and he threw it to him.
That was one of the things that John Gruden talked to us about, why he put in Chris Sims last week. He put in Chris Sims to try and create a little bit more with the legs.
During the return of the kick, illegal block in the back, receiving team number 24. 10-yard penalty, first down.
They lost to Seattle.
Bad. That big offensive line of Oakland. You let them sit up there and just get in the way of people and let Kerry Collins sit back deep in a pocket and let them extend that Tampa zone.
Look at Robert Gallery. You see him, number 76. I said, can I call you Bob? He says, no, Robert. I said, hey, Robert. But you know the thing about it is when they brought him here, number 1 pick, he always was a left tackle. So they brought him in, they made him a left guard. Then they wanted to use him at right tackle. Now he's playing there. And Joe said the other day, well, why right tackle? He says, that's where they want me to play, and I can help the team. That's where I'm playing.
Tyrone Wheatley carried it.
Look at him laughing.
The pass completion before was to Courtney Anderson.
Robert Gallery, I'm telling you, this guy is huge, folks. And he's also learned how to use his hands.
Look who's in the game on offense. Warren Sapp.
Well, it's a short yardage. It's like goal line. Warren Sapp. He's got great hands now.
He did it in Tampa.
Yep. Collins. Wheatley gets the first down.
Now, Charles Woodson was someone else that had tried to beg to get on the offensive side of the ball, and Norv Turner said, nah, I don't think so, especially with as much camp as Charles Woodson missed. But Warren Sapp's played there before. As a matter of fact, Brad Johnson threw him his first touchdown pass.
Right. The Oakland Raiders have 1 timeout left plus the 2 minutes. We're going inside of 3 minutes now, and they're just kind of grinding it out.
Well, I
think they're going down, don't you?
I think this one goes downtown.
Collins, play fake to Wheatley. Line of scrimmage. Derrick Brooks with the stop. Let's again go down to Susie Culver.
Well, I have an update for you on Charlie Garner. It's a right knee sprain. He will not be back. I mean, talk about hurting the Bucs in terms of losing weapons. This really couldn't be any worse for them in their backfield. They wanted Garner because he's such a competitor and fiery, lives and dies on every snap. If he has the opportunity, he's the kind of guy that can be the pulse of the team. Just a huge loss for the Bucs.
Collins lofts it out to Alvis Whitted. And they move the sticks.
Well, this is what you give up when you blitz. And they sent a whole bunch of people, and you got Alvis Whitted on the outside all by himself.
That was a nice job by Amos Zaraway in the backfield, just picking up the blitz. He's not a big guy. He's only 5'8".
We get the 2-minute warning with the score tied at 6.
For the Raiders offensively, they've gone to 9 different receivers, and every receiver only has 1 catch between Gannon and Collins.
Buck showing blitz. Collins. Pass caught. Gary Porter. That'll move the sticks. First down.
This offensive line is so hard to get by. I mean, Barry Sims is 300. Frank Middleton, the left guard, is 330. Adam True, the center's 300. Ron Stone's 325. Robert Gallery's 325. When that offensive line creates a wall, they only need to go shoulders and shoulders. Linebackers and defensive backs can't get through to Collins. And certainly the corners have to respect the speed outside.
Well, about a corner coming into the blitz, and Robert Gallery's waiting on you.
That may be one of the reasons Kerry Collins decided this was the place. The size of that offensive line. Wide open, and the flag on the play. Jerry Rice made the one-handed grab for 18-yard pickup, but a flag on the play.
Oh, is that vintage Jerry Rice?
The one thing about Jerry Rice, in all of his career, he knew he was going to get hit afterwards. And he said one time, why not just catch the ball? Look at this. He knows he's going to get hit. He tucks it back in.
Hands to the face. Defense number 27. This penalty is declined. Result for the play. First down.
Well, that could have been a major penalty because he turned Jerry Rice's head. Mario Edwards, number 27, turned his head by grabbing his face mask.
Boy, Jerry Rice, I mean, everybody talks about, well, you played in the West Coast offense. You have to remember, when he played in San Francisco with Montana and Young, they threw corners and posts and deep 14-yard ends. This offense isn't that different for him.
Collins back. Drops it. Bateman, one of the bevy of Raider running backs.
Now that's another guy that's caught. It's 10 different people have caught the ball, and each one has one catch.
Here's Collins being chased. Incomplete.
You know what? This was the very first time that Simeon Rice even got close. And he comes from the outside. He told us he's going to have a big night. Well, let me tell you something about your big night. First of all, you're not going inside, Sims, but that is about as close as he's been to the quarterback this entire night. And he's tired. You got to run around buildings all night long and you get tired.
You would be tired.
0-2, he had 15 and a half sacks. Last year he had 15. He certainly has made a lot of people pay the price, but not tonight.
Here it comes.
Outside quickly. Touchdown Raiders, Ronald Curry.
How about Jerry Rice's block? How about Jerry Rice's block?
I mean, it starts with the call, then the execution, then the block.
Well, they caught him in that blitz again. They have two guys on the outside, and Jerry Rice makes a block that's absolutely superb. And it's touchdown.
Who is this guy, Ronald Curry?
Quarterback.
Point guard.
Point guard and quarterback in college.
Janikowski for the extra point. Which is good. Let's have another look at that block by Rice.
Here come the Bucks. That's Rondé Barber trying to get up inside. Look at Jerry Rice. Oh, what a sweet block on Mario Edwards. Jerry Rice just doing everything. Gets down low, makes Mario Edwards go around him. Dwight Smith has to try and catch him. And that's a little bit of a vertical.
That's a pretty good move.
Yeah.
Most guys would just run in the end zone.
Yeah, that's all you got to do. Yeah. Well, come up hurt like that, and I'll watch how fast they jump on you. Well, I tell you, enough can't be said about this Oakland Raider offensive line. Kerry Collins is standing back there. He's got time. That time there, he just threw the ball exactly where he had to. Just a quick pass, read the defense. That was easy. I don't know now if Tampa Bay can score.
Well, the game's not out of hand for them at all yet. I think offensively, they've had some opportunities. They've had a couple of big plays. It's going to have to come in the passing game, obviously now, without Charlie Garner. And we might, I mean, if that's going to be the case and you got to throw the ball down the field, might be the opportunity for Chris Sims to come back in. Not that Brad Johnson isn't a good quarterback, but he doesn't provide you the mobility.
Chris Sims has got a great arm. Torrey Cox lets again go down to Susie.
Well, you guys wondered, who is Ronald Curry? Talk about reinventing yourself. Curry, a 7th-round draft choice in 2002, a multi-sport star in high school, actually recruited higher than Michael Vick as a quarterback. 2-sport star at North Carolina, a point guard and a quarterback. His rookie season in the NFL on the practice squad, playing every position. Last year they asked him, how would you like to make your mark? He said wide receiver. Last week a breakout, his first NFL touchdown. Now he has 2.
Brad Johnson drops and throws, and the pass is complete.
Hello. Hello.
Charles Lee with the catch.
First down. Less than a minute.
They have 2 timeouts remaining. Tampa Bay does. So they have plenty of time. Problem is, they're using a lot of it at the line of scrimmage.
Johnson. Now he's going to take off. And does, and slides across midfield. Now they'll have to take a timeout.
We see Brad Johnson trying to mount a drive for his team. But boy, what a job Kerry Collins did on that last drive. Just a nice job of finding places. Quick throws outside. Down the middle with the deeper routes, of course, helped by terrific catches. Then the really quick throw outside to Ronald Curry with the great block by Jerry Rice. Hey, when you think about the distribution, 10 receivers have caught the ball. 5 to wide receivers, 2 to tight ends, 3 to running backs. Only 2 guys in the first half have caught more than 1 ball.
Well, the only guy that hasn't caught a pass is you. Tuiasa Soko, you. Third quarterback.
And you.
Second down, Johnson. Pass complete. Michael Clayton. Another first down. 15-yard pickup.
And you got Tampa Bay walking backwards.
Well, now that is just a tough penalty for Gruden's offense.
Pass interference, offense, number 80. 10-yard penalty, repeat, second down.
Michael Clayton, who received the pass. All for the violation.
Hey, just remember something now. Here he comes off the line of scrimmage. Look at this. He just throws the defensive back out of the way. You've got to understand something. The defensive back, Philip Buchanan, has as much right to that field as Clayton does. And that was the problem. You have to either go avoid him, but you can't push him out of the way. It works both ways.
Second and 15. No blitz, but pressure.
Warren Sapp.
Warren Sapp with the heat on Johnson.
One thing I said about Warren Sapp in the opening, which is really true, this guy never stops. He'll give you 100% on every single down that he plays. And Warren Sapp on this play just does not stop. Watch this, 99. Look at Warren Sapp. He's double teamed. Now he goes back to the outside, and he puts the heat on Brad Johnson.
And we saw his explosiveness and his speed when he ran down Charlie Garner in the first quarter.
He's a heck of an athlete in high school. Still is.
Still in high school?
No, I don't think so. Johnson, ball loose. The ball is loose. Buccaneers got it, I think. Charles Woodson applied the pressure that knocked it loose.
Well, I'll tell you got third down and a whole lot, and you send your corner, your best corner, Charles Woodson.
I think it's a great call. Rob Ryan, who's the defensive coordinator of the Oakland Raiders, spent 4 years as the linebacker coach with the New England Patriots and tutored under Bill Belichick up there.
Our score here at Network Associates Coliseum, the Raiders 13, the Buccaneers 6.
Mild-mannered bunch.
Really?
They really are. Warm. They give you warm cuddlies when you wander through there.
I want to go with you when you get those warm cuddlies. Well, the Raiders, the Raider Nation, is ahead 13-6. What do the Tampa Bay Buccaneers do now, Paul? They've lost Charlie Garner. What happens?
Well, they have to really agree with Joe. We talked about this earlier. Keep it close. But the most important thing, I think they've got to get their tight ends involved in this football game. And if they don't, Kent Dilger, Ricky Dudley, if these guys don't get involved, I don't know how they're going to score.
See, I think you also could see a quarterback change here in the second half because they're going to have to put some kind of spark into it. Not to take anything away from Brad Johnson, but his mobility is limited. And I think if the Bucs are going to be in this thing, they're going to have to get quarterbacks making plays with his feet as well as his arms.
Tyrone Wheatley carries on first down and picks up about 3. He had a 60-yard scamper earlier in the game. There's Rich Gannon. X-rays were negative on his back. It looked like his neck or head might be hurt when he was hit by Derrick Brooks. But he won't be back tonight.
Neither will Ricky Dudley.
Yeah, I mentioned Ricky Dudley about getting involved in a ball game. He's got a fractured right thumb, so he's out.
Well, Charlie Garner won't be back either. Collins.
Oh, this is just such terrific execution.
Porter.
This is when a quarterback and a wide receiver are on exactly the same page. Now, Brian Kelly has done a wonderful job all night on staying close to Porter, but that time, watch the timing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cut it loose. Brian Kelly is right in Porter's back pocket. Excellent timing.
Good throw by Collins as well.
As this game goes on, you see Kerry Collins getting more and more comfortable.
0-8 is the back. Collins hit from behind just as he let it go.
Simeon Rice.
Arm was going forward.
Simeon Rice came around and knocked the ball out of his hands.
No, they can't call this a fumble. I mean, it's Simeon Rice coming from the backside. Now, this is first time he gets around Sims. That ball, his arm was going forward when the ball comes out. Look at here. That ball, now his arm is, whoa. Yeah, it is going forward.
Yes. Yes, it is. I mean, that guy's going to make some kind of plays. This is, I guarantee you, when Tampa Bay got in the locker room, they said, hey, look, defense, it's on us.
They called that a fumble, but the Raiders recovered it.
Second down. Collins again. With time and a strike to Porter. 27-yard pickup.
You look at this offensive line and look at the protection that Kerry Collins has. He's got a chance. Look at him look the field over. And then he throws. This is the perfect pass to Jerry Porter, number 84. He is wide open. And look what happens with this offensive line. Look at the black shirts. Look where the white shirts are. Kerry Collins just steps right up into the pocket, the perfect lane. Can't beat that.
Just like sitting in a rocking chair.
Porter, 4 catches for 62 yards. Collins, 0 away. Beg your pardon, Justin Fargas just came in the game for 0 away.
I'll tell you, Justin Fargas has got some speed.
Oh, he hits the hole hard. Watch, little misdirection. You get big Frank Middleton coming around. You get Doug Jolly coming around. 2 good blocks by the guys up front. That's Dwight Smith going to have to bring him down. But when your safety's making tackles that far down the field, 10, 11 yards, guys up front are getting manhandled.
Flag on the play. Vargas tried the left side.
And Derrick Brooks is calling for a holding penalty.
Holding, offense, number 67. 10-yard penalty, repeat, first down.
Ron Stone.
You know, most defensive guys sit down, kind of rest. Not Warren Sapp.
He wants to see what the Tampa Bay defense is doing.
He should know.
And as this game goes on, you look at the size of the offensive line of the Raiders, and you know that Tampa Bay's defensive line is not big. And they're just going to lean on them and lean on them and lean on them. And they're going to count on running the ball later in this game, as well as now.
Vargas. Taken down by Ronde Barber first.
You run on this defense, you run at their pride. Man, I think Tampa Bay, if you talk about that football team, it's a very prideful group of men over there. And when you go up the gut like we've seen the Raiders do tonight, Tyrone Wheatley was one, we saw Justin Fargas do it, you're running right at their pride, and they just aren't going to let that happen.
And you don't want to do what they just did there is try to get to their outside because they're too fast. Stay with it up the middle. If you're going to run against Tampa Bay, go right at them.
Kerry Collins, the quarterback. 0 away behind him. Collins in the direction of Rice, but high.
Well, I'll tell you, that was some outstanding coverage on the other side by Brian Kelly. I mean, and Kerry Collins did absolutely the perfect thing to do, and that's throw the ball away. Brian Kelly is number 25. He's on Rice. He comes up and he chucks him. Now look at it. He's between Rice and the ball. He knows. That ball's got to be overthrown.
Well, we're getting to a point where Ronald Curry's name and number seems to be dialed up here. He split out to the left with Doug Jolly on the left side. You got Rice and Porter up top on the right.
Collins in the pocket. Oh, just missed Jerry Rice. Just missed.
You're absolutely right. I mean, you're talking about as close as you're going to get to a touchdown. This ball was almost thrown perfectly. As Rice gets chucked at the line. Now let's just take a look at it. Back to the outside. The coverage, Dwight Smith never gets there.
You know, I remember watching practice on Friday. The same route was run, and this ball was actually a little bit lower than the one he threw in practice on Friday. Didn't want to throw it too low and get it picked off.
Janikowski.
Off the dirt.
39 yards out. And he's good again. 16-6. The Raiders lead. Torrey Cox brings it out of the end zone. A swamp shy of the 20. Brad Johnson returns as the Buccaneers quarterback. 16-6.
For the first time in 420 games, and St. Louis getting beat at home for the first time in about a season.
In overtime by New Orleans. Tampa Bay has got to get something going. Allstott straight ahead, plunging and plowing. Let's go down to Susie Carver.
Pat, it's now been 10 straight quarters that the Bucs offense has not scored a touchdown. And I talked to John Gruden at halftime. He said he's quite aware of their stats. I asked him about his quarterback situation because last week when they needed a spark, he benched Brad Johnson and went with Chris Sims. He said, no, Brad's his guy. He's sticking with him, but he would appreciate if his defense got a few more 3-and-outs.
Well, that ought to put it where it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's Allstott again. Rambling. Think he got a first down.
Oh, I know he got a first down.
On his second effort.
Let me tell you what. You know, this guy, and when you look at his shoulder pads, he is so wide that when he goes through that hole, it's hard for him to turn sideways. He just lays it to you. And you know you're going when you hit him, you're going to get hit.
Fake to Allstott.
Oh, no.
Bam. Philip Buchanan walks in. 31-yard touchdown for the Raiders.
Well, last year he had 6 interceptions, ran 2 of them back for touchdowns. This year he's improved his percentage. That's his second interception, and he has 1 touchdown.
Wow, this ball was thrown so late, it's unbelievable. You run a play-action pass and then throw it almost for him. Brad Johnson clear across the field. Buchanan was just sitting there waiting on the play. Look at this. I mean, this thing is just, I mean, there was no way that the receiver can get to it.
Nope.
Well, that's a tight end. Philip Buchanan saying, hey, this guy's not going to run by me.
Officially 32 yards, the 7th career touchdown on that return for Philip Buchanan.
4 by interception, 3 by punt returns.
This one was easy. (23-6) after the interception touchdown by Buchanan. Janikowski's kickoff. Deep into the end zone. They'll leave it there this time. Torrey Cox doesn't try to bring it out. And the Buccaneers will take over at their own 20. With all their offensive weapons gone for the most part, it's a dark-looking cage.
Well, and here's the interception. That's Heller, the tight end. That's Buchanan. He backs up. Little play-action fake. Throw it out that way, pick it up, and go the other way. There it is. I mean, Philip Buchanan just sat there and waited for Brad Johnson. That's a long throw, and when you throw it late, all you're asking for is trouble.
Allstott at the line of scrimmage, slung down just past the 20.
I mean, you've got a 3-yard and a cloud of dust offense. I just think that, now would be the right time to put Chris Sims in the football game. I mean, he's younger, he's got a stronger arm, and you get him a chance to play some football. Brad Johnson's in his 13th year. Not that you're saying it's a lost cause, but you may be able to get a spark, maybe able to get something.
Well, the thing about it is that Brad Johnson, on that last one, he made the throw to Buchanan, intercepted. You got to know he's got a tight end that's on a corner, so you can't make that throw. But he really doesn't have anybody to throw the ball to, and I don't care who's in there.
Allstott takes the pitch out up across the 25, a pickup of about 5. Tyler Brayton made the stop.
What I mean, if you put Chris Sims in there against this team now, here, with nobody to really throw the ball to or hand the ball off to.
Hey, it was no different last week.
I know, but I'm just saying that he's going to stick with Brad Johnson because he thinks Brad's smart enough to pull this thing out.
Well, if he thinks that's the case, I think he's misthinking.
Johnson back to the blitz coming. Incomplete. Didn't even have time to turn around and look. Michael Clayton the target, but no chance.
You can blame a lot of things on the quarterback, Joe, but you can't if you don't block anybody and he hasn't have time to throw.
Please understand, I'm not blaming Brad Johnson. I'm just saying, when you look at a football team on offense, to try and get some kind of a spark, there's only one position you can make a change at that can create that, and that's at the quarterback position.
Josh Bidwell back to punt. Philip Buchanan to handle the return yardage, if there is any, for the Raiders. A bad kick off the side of the foot. Stay away from it. Still bouncing in the Buccaneers' favor to about the 33. 40-yard punt. John Gruden. Tough night at Network Associates Coliseum in Oakland. The Raiders 23, the Buccaneers 6.
John Gruden trying to get some input from Brad Johnson. I mean, saying, all right, look, we'll try and get some more time for you.
Vargas gets the carry. Comes out of the pack and gets some yardage on his own. Dwight Smith on the stop. Let's go down to Susie Colbert.
Well, Pat, can you imagine what this is doing to John Gruden? After they won the Super Bowl, he wrote a book. It was called Do You Love Football? And in it, there was a line that he said he lives and dies with every game. I asked him, well, you've lost 8 out of the last 11. How are you doing? He said, I'm dying. This is ripping my guts out. Can you imagine a John Gruden offense, the only one in the NFL that hasn't scored a touchdown?
Hard to imagine. Vargas.
And the Raiders are doing exactly what they need to do, and that's just control the football and go right up the middle.
What I've been surprised by is Tampa Bay's the poor tackling. We saw Jermaine Phillips miss one on Tyrone Wheatley's big run. Now we saw Justin Vargas on the play before that break a couple of tackles. Very uncharacteristic of Tampa Bay defenses.
That's their reputation as being a good, outstanding, maybe the best tackling team in the NFL. Not so tonight.
They've been on the field, too. And if you get them into the fourth quarter, they get tired.
You get tired of somebody running over you all night, too.
Here's Collins back to throw. Gets the screen pass up to J.R. Redmond. And Redmond crosses into Buccaneer territory.
I like the way Jimmy Ray, the offensive coordinator, and Norv Turner, the head coach of the Raiders, is calling this game. All right, you want to come after us? Fine. We'll just dump a little screen off and back you off.
I'll tell you what's really surprising. Derrick Brooks is number 55, reads the screen, and he gets out there. But I'm going to tell you what. Watch what happens after he misses the play here. He gets blocked. Look how long it takes for the rest of the white shirts to get there. That's something you just never have seen before in Tampa Bay.
It's a new defense. I think that's something people don't understand. There are new elements. Brian Kelly missed a year ago. Jermaine Phillips is new at safety.
Collins. Al of a Swithin 18-yard pickup wide open in the middle.
You just have a feeling that every time they run a play action, he can throw it anywhere he wants.
And Kerry Collins has been able to go out and throw the ball where he wants. Terrific time. Sets in the pocket, plants, fires the ball out wherever he needs to. Whether it's out to the right or whether it's crossing patterns with great catches in the middle or whether it's getting the ball real quick out of his hands and creating opportunities for receivers to run with the football. He's doing everything he needs to do, but as long as he's working away from that line of scrimmage and his receivers are stretching those zones, they're gigantic holes to throw into.
Collins again. Diving effort.
What a catch.
By Porter.
You know what? Brian Kelly has got to be talking to himself. This guy has played some tremendous coverage tonight, and that ball has been thrown on target by Kerry Collins. Take a look at this. Here's Kelly. Look at where he is. Here comes the ball. He hears the sight. This is just a great catch.
What a catch.
And Jerry Porter doesn't push off, manages to catch the ball, stays in bounds. I mean, it's just phenomenal.
They're going to challenge this because he actually lands out of bounds, but his knee was down inbounds.
Well, then he didn't land out of bounds.
That's right. Top part of his body was out of bounds. And remember, you also have to have control of the ball when you come down.
Tampa Bay is challenging the ruling on the field of a completed pass.
Good. We haven't had a chance to talk about one.
All right, here's the catch by Porter. Now, that's Kelly's foot out of bounds.
Is it?
Porter's knee is down.
His elbow's down. His shoulder's down. I mean, his left knee, his left elbow, and his left shoulder all hit the ground.
And he has control of the football.
The ball came to the ground with his knee inbounds. It is a completed pass.
There's a timeout gone.
Tampa Bay will be charged with their first timeout.
Jerry Porter's had himself quite an evening in his starting debut this year, putting up some big numbers. Great catches, great efforts.
Since Kerry Collins came in with 3 minutes to go in the first quarter, he is 16 out of 25 for 228 yards and a touchdown.
We said
since he came in.
He wanted to come to this offense because they were an offensive team that put the ball down the field. And you think of the young receivers. I mean, Jerry Porter, besides Jerry Rice's 20 years, Jerry Porter's the oldest receiver with 5.
They're at the 5. Wheatley to about the 2.5.
They're just, you know, I hate to say it, you're in the third quarter, getting inside 4.5 minutes to go. But this is a tired defense. These guys have been on the field for a long, long time.
And those big guys have been leaning on him.
Yeah, they have. And you got what? You got over 1,600 pounds leaning on you?
Now, the other thing is Simeon Rice is at his best when he's able to rush the passer. As long as Oakland keeps running like this, he can't.
Fakes to Wheatley. Almost intercepted in the end zone by Jermaine Phillips.
Would that have been huge?
Would have been.
Well, Courtney Anderson, number 83, is I think the guy that goes back and breaks it up. Take a look at this throw. Here's a throw Collins should not have made. But number 83 is Courtney Anderson as the tight end. I believe that's him here. Look at this guy. He helps out. Oh, man. That was a ball that Phillips should have had.
So it's 3rd and goal. The scamper outside. Nothing doing to zero away, but a flag on the play. He lost a yard. Flag on the play, maybe a face mask. Huh?
Boy, if this is a face mask, I mean, you know, Jermaine Phillips was there, number 23, but if this is a face mask, man, is this deadly?
There's a face.
There's a face mask. That ain't a mask. That's his face.
What's the penalty? You're not going to like it, John, I don't think.
Personal foul, grabbing the face mask, defense number 23. The ball will be placed half the distance to the goal. Automatic. First down.
Jermaine Phillips, number 23, is the guy that's going to reach in. Now, there was no place for zero way to go. I mean, he was stopped. They had the people to the outside, and I was really surprised to see him try to run wide on this football team down here with the great speed that Tampa Bay has. But, man, that's a killer.
I promise you.
On first and goal, Warren Sapp's on the offensive unit.
Now, this could be a good time for a little play action to get Warren an opportunity against his old team. Or do you just give it to Tyrone Wheatley and let him pound it in? What do you think, Paul?
Pound, 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 pound.
Play action.
Wheatley. Standing up. "15 carries, 99 yards for Wheatley, and a touchdown."
Well, Norv told us the guy that can average, well, there's excessive celebration because there's flags all over the end zone. And Norv said any guy that can average 5 yards a carry stays in place, but they played everybody.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, unnecessary celebration at the end of the play against the offense. This penalty will be assessed 15 yards on the kickoff. The play stands as a touchdown.
You know, that may not hurt you in a game like this, but it'll definitely hurt you in a game down the road when it's a lot closer.
Ron Stone, the right guard, is getting in on it. You didn't carry it in, Ron.
Janikowski for the extra point. Good again. The Raiders starting to put it away. 30-3. 30-6, I'm sorry. 30-6, the Raiders over the Buccaneers. 3:42 left to play in the third quarter.
I'll tell you what's sick as a quarterback. You go back and you stand there on the sidelines, you're getting ready to get the ball back, and you look around and you think, well, who am I going to give it to? I mean, who am I going to give it to?
Janikowski kicks off from the 15. Good kick. Corey Cox on the return. Let's go quickly to Chris Berman.
All right, Pat, thank you very much. In Miami, the Dolphins gambling in the muck and the mire on 4th and short. A.J. Feely stacked up by the Steeler defense that enabled a short drive, and Jeff Reed's 50-yard field goal to be good. Just beginning the fourth quarter, 6-0 Steelers in Miami. Meanwhile, it's over. The Angels have beaten the A's 6-2. They trail Oakland by 1. Texas trails by 2 in the AL West with just a week to go. Pat?
On first down. Oh, Willis.
You know, it's when you think about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you've got a football team who's depleted in the running game as far as Tampa goes. I mean, does Ricky Williams become an option for anybody in the National Football League? I personally don't think so, because he's going to have to sit out for a suspension. But if you're a coach, you might be looking for somebody to come in and help you. Certainly, we know he's a great runner.
Well, but they're not looking for someone to help them next year. They're looking for someone to help them now. They don't have anybody.
Well, they'll get Michael Pittman back next week, but I don't know if that's going to be enough.
Johnson deep, incomplete.
Coverage by Charles Woodson. Pressure on the quarterback by Travian Smith.
You know, this it really is frightening to take a look at it, and we're not sitting here belaboring the point, but if you look at the Bucs offense right now, and that list that Susie had at the beginning of this football game.
Holding. Offense, number 76. 10-yard penalty will repeat second down.
I think the other...
You look at all those people, that you list, those are all people that put points on the board for you. He doesn't have anybody in there that can score, really.
Probably the biggest one that's missing with the most catches last year is Keenan McCardell. And I want to tell you, I don't think the Bucs are going to change their stance on his situation no matter what happens on their offense.
Johnson to throw it. Outside quickly to Ken Dilger.
I like what Rob Ryan, the defensive coordinator of the Raiders, has done. He doesn't care what the score is. He's either going to max, and this is what Ray Buchanan told us, the safety of the Raiders. Rob Ryan's either going to max come after you, that means with 6 or more people, or he's going to max drop back and cover with 8. There's a guy.
Yeah, you don't have to max drop back and cover with 8. Of course, you don't have 8. People can get out.
His dad came after us with a lot of people, old buddy Ryan.
Yes, he did. Johnson with pretty good protection this time, and he hits Bill Schrader. And that'll be a Buccaneer first down, 12-yard pickup.
And you just take a look at the last couple of plays. Now, for Brad Johnson. Short passes, and the Raiders are going to give them to you. The only thing he cannot do is throw one of those short deals off of play action back to the outside again when you have tight ends running down the field and you have corners covering them because they're going to pick it off again.
You're basically forcing them to throw the ball in the middle of the football field, keep the clock running, and I don't think they can afford to drop 1 or 2 because then you get in 3rd and long, and here comes the pressure.
Johnson's 10 out of 19. It seems like he's thrown it a lot more than that. Short pass to Allstott. Couple.
That's a 1-yard gain.
Napoleon Harris made the tackle.
But you know, if you just stand behind Brad Johnson, Joe, and you look at when he goes back to pass, first of all, he knows he doesn't have a whole lot of time. And then he doesn't have anybody really downfield.
But it's also a credit to him as a pro. He understands he's fighting something here, but he's finding people.
Allstott wide left. Lowers the shoulder. Crosses to about the 44-yard line.
He is stumbling. He was stumbling.
See, if you spin forward and you think about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for the next week and the week after that, it doesn't get any easier for them, because they still are stuck in the same type of an offense that relies on 8, 9, 10, 11 play drives to try and put points on. And, you know, Timmy Brown has really been shut out. He's been non-existent in this game. He's in the slot right now.
Johnson back. A throwback incomplete. It was a little high, intended for Jameel White. And they'll have to punt.
Talked about Brad Johnson having a tough evening. Nobody really to throw the football to, but it's not even just tonight. 23 drives, 9 points, 3 turnovers.
We got 6 seconds there, another quarter, Joe, without a touchdown.
Pat, you said, how about 10, wasn't it, 11?
Right.
You were bidding there before?
Yep.
Well, you can bid on 12.
I think now, really, they might think about a quarterback change. Flag on the play as Bidwell gets the punt off. Fair catch. Philip Buchanan, 33-yard kick.
I think Torrey Cox left a little early. No, they got offside on the defense.
34-yard punt prior to the penalty.
That's going to be close to a first.
Warren, I think, wants his teammates to back up a little bit. Don't you?
Yeah.
If you're a lip reader, you know that he's vehement about the fact that they ought to back up.
Offside, defense number 27. The wants us to measure to see if it will be a first down.
I think you have to go for it whether or not it's a first down. And
I agree.
Joe Avezzano is the new special teams coach of the Raiders. Of course, 3-time special teams coach of the year with the Dallas Cowboys. There he is with the silver hair in the middle. And actually, with the change in philosophy on defense for the Raiders, it's helped his special teams out. They went to a 3-4, which means you add another defensive back and 1 or 2 more linebackers, so they get younger, they get quicker, and they'll have a better cover unit.
I was talking to Joe at practice day before yesterday, and he likes it here. He has enjoyed the association with Al Davis and with the organization. He likes it.
first down.
What do you think, Paul? Is it going to be a first down?
Joe. Yes.
No.
They're going to miss it by a little bit, but I don't, you know. Look at John saying, how did you do that?
Well, now the quarter can't end on a defensive play. So we'll have an untimed down now.
Defensive penalty.
That is the end of the third quarter. We'll start the next quarter with fourth down and
Well,
inches.
I beg your pardon. It can end on a defensive penalty. The Raiders leading it 30-6. The Buccaneers have the ball 4th and inches. And they're going to go for it.
And this is on the dirt where offensive linemen have a real problem getting any kind of traction.
Would you think all stop? You're lined up deep.
I would.
Oh, I would.
I don't know if that offensive line is going to be able to generate enough push.
We would think quarterback sneak. And he got it. Let's go down again to Susie Colbert.
Well, Pat, the rematch of Super Bowl 37, a whole new ball game. Only thing the same, bad night for Rich Gannon. Early on, knocked out of the game. X-rays on his back are negative. Kerry Collins comes in and moves the offense. 16 of 26 for 228 yards. Mixing it up, Jerry Porter with big catches and Tyrone Wheatley 99 yards and a touchdown. Looks like North Turner has his back. And the Raiders defense pitching a shutout against the Bucs offense. An interception for a touchdown. 2 sacks. They've allowed just 45 rushing yards. And Warren Sapp is looking pretty good in silver and black, isn't he?
Yeah, Suze. He's smiling a lot. I know that.
Yeah, he is. He's a happy camper.
I know if he was in pewter, he wouldn't be smiling.
Just barely got that first down. Here's Johnson back to throw it. Pass complete.
Tim Brown with the catch.
That's his first, isn't it?
I want Tim to get his 100th touchdown.
Well, Brad Johnson has thrown Warren Sapp his first touchdown.
Yep.
We've seen Chris Carter catch his 100th touchdown as well as his 1,000th catch here on ESPN. It's the network of milestones.
That's right.
Second down. They get to all stop. Mike rumbles for a first.
But I got to believe that they're going to put an awful lot of coverage on Tim Brown the closer they get to that end zone so he doesn't get that 100 touchdown here.
Most career receiving touchdowns in NFL history. Jerry Rice, 194. And you see Tim Brown there tied with Don Hudson, one of the all-time greats of the game.
That's a record that's not going to be broken. Here's Johnson outside, caught, and out of bounds. Ken Brown. Ken Dilger, beg your pardon. No, it was Brown.
I tell you, I'm serious. You got to watch the coverage now down towards this end zone because you got to believe that the Oakland Raiders are aware, and obviously that he's got, he can catch his 100th touchdown pass, and they're not going to want it to happen here.
But the Raiders have played in the secondary really with 4 corners. They played with Charles Woodson and Philip Buchanan, their regular corners. They brought in Denard Walker, who's the backup corner, and Ray Buchanan, who's playing safety, has spent most of his career as a corner in this league.
Johnson. Whips it out to Allstott. Not much doing. Let's go to Chris Berman for an update.
All right, Pat, thank you. In Miami, A.J. Feely, not much touchy. Then again, it's a hard night to pass. Incomplete, and that at least allowed Miami to get on the board. Olindo Mare, 34-yard field goal at 6-3. Pittsburgh under 12 minutes left. Pat?
That's a real Cliff Dweller.
Oh, boy.
Well, that weather, it's unbelievable. Those guys have gone out and played in those conditions, and those poor people in Florida having to deal with all that again.
Johnson, the pressure is coming wide open. Jameel Cook moves it down for a first down.
Okay, Charles Woodson saved the touchdown. Jameel Cook was flying. I mean, that ball came out to the outside. He just slipped out of the backfield, and Brad Johnson hit
illegal
right
tip, offense, The man in motion did not reset as the back was going down. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, third down.
When things are going badly, they stay going badly.
The Colts in 97 and the Steelers in 90 did not score an offensive touchdown the first 3 games. Of course, going back a few years ago, you had the Baltimore Ravens who went 5 straight games in the middle of the season and did not score an offensive touchdown.
3rd and 8. Play clock down to 6. Johnson complete. Tim Brown.
Now the offensive line, they're really giving Johnson some protection. Enough time so he can find Tim Brown. Watch this, outside. Little pivot back to the inside. He's wide open. But Johnson had enough time to throw the ball.
That's the key. 1st and 10. Longest active streak in the NFL in which he's caught a pass. Rice's came to an end last week. Raiders are saying somebody moved. Flag does go down. A lot of pointing.
False start. Offense, number 76. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
That's the center.
That is number 1 on John Gruden's list of frosting or really ticking them off, is when somebody jumps off sides or moves.
And it's the center.
I mean,
they changed it.
No, they did change it?
Stussy, yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Let's move it down.
He's still not a happy camper.
What does he have? You're right. It doesn't matter who it's on.
What does he have to be happy about? Sneaking up to blitz. Johnson. In the end zone, touchdown. Tim Brown, and that's number 100.
I just can't believe that he ran that free down the middle of the field.
I just think that they did not put a lot of pressure on Brad Johnson. They gave him a chance, and the last 4 balls were thrown to Tim Brown, and what an appreciative group of people here in Oakland.
They're on the feet, applauding Tim Brown in another uniform. 16 years he wore the silver and black.
The 16 years he gave him his heart.
Yes,
and they appreciate it.
Probably,
they're going to go for 2.
Probably never play here again. There he is, up the middle. Good move. Terrific move up the middle on Philip Buchanan.
100 touchdowns. That breaks that tie with Don Hudson that Joe was talking about a minute ago. For 2.
Flag down. Flag down.
David Moore, the target, by the flag on the play. 13-play drive by Brad Johnson, the Buccaneers,
Pass
62
interference.
yards.
Offense, number 85. This penalty is declined, and the result of the play was a missed extra point.
30-12. And that's the way it'll stay. Let's go down to Susie again.
Well, regarding Tim Brown, he's a man of strong faith. He doesn't ask for signs, but regarding his 100th career touchdown catch, he felt he had gotten them. Mr. Raider, a fan favorite here, he had a feeling he was going to get 100 right here. And really, if you consider it, this is his home turf. He said his buddy Chris Carter caught number 100 on Sunday Night Football, and Brad Johnson was the quarterback. There were just too many things that pointed to Brown getting 100 right here. He also said it might be the first time he ever cries after making a touchdown catch.
I was just very impressed, Susie, with the ovation that this crowd gave him. I think a lot of people wanted to see it happen tonight. And I give John Gruden a lot of credit, too, for calling plays to give him an opportunity at this juncture of the game to get in the end zone.
And that was really surprising to see him run down. Buchanan was on him, was supposed to be on him, but run that free down the middle of the field, especially at that area when they know they're going to try to get him his 100th touchdown.
I remember earlier in the game, Bill Schrader took off down the middle of the field, too. And of course, Al Davis, the man who had him here, is disappointed. He's disappointed that a touchdown was scored. He could care less about records.
And just remember something. That's their first touchdown for Tampa Bay in 12 quarters of this season.
Brown.
Offensive one, right?
Offensive touchdown.
Brown caught 4 passes for 41 yards, all in that drive, including touchdown number 100. 81.
Yeah, Chucky's telling him, I think Tim went over and said thanks. John Gruden appreciates great players in this game, and he certainly has brought one. He had him here in Oakland, and he brought him home to Tampa.
Bouncing kickoff by Doug Gabriel. Flag on the play as a little exuberance. Doug Gabriel was knocked out of bounds by Rondé Barber.
Rondé pushed him just a little bit longer than than the officials allow you to.
Do you think John will be ticked off with this one?
Not as bad as the fall. I was funny. I agree with you, though. But the false starts are the ones that really get them. This one here was just a frustrated bit of aggression.
Well, they actually both had their hands in each other's face.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 20 on the kicking team. 15-yard penalty, first down.
Congratulations to number 81, Tim Brown. He's been a credit to the game. The Raiders 30, the Buccaneers 12. A record 100 touchdown catches for that man, Tim Brown.
And I'll tell you what, a credit to this game of football.
And it happened here where he spent so many years, 16 years, too.
0-8. Down the sideline and out of bounds by Rondé Barber. 17-yard pickup. Derrick Brooks, who is, again, wired tonight. Talk about great players. Tim Brown, of course, is. So is Derrick Brooks. And sometimes I think we use that word great too often. But I don't feel badly about those two.
Not at all.
Collins back to throw. Pass is intercepted.
That's Brian Kelly.
Kelly.
He could have had 5. He probably gets 1.
Boy, what a game he's played. Brian Kelly has stayed all over Jerry Porter. Jerry Porter has had his share, but finally Brian Kelly gets a chance to get his turn.
30-12. Buccaneers trailing the Raiders. Tampa Bay has the ball. And Brad Johnson remains the quarterback. No change. He's going to take off himself. Pick up about 7 or 8. Let's again go down to Susie.
Well, let's check in on Norv Turner's coaching resume. Began his career under John Robinson and the Rams. Jimmy Johnson in Dallas. Says he knows how to do things good coaches do, and he sees his road to the Raiders as a continuation of his head coaching stint in Washington. There for 7 years, he learned that you got to get guys who complement you, know your weaknesses, and then add their strengths. Jimmy Ray, the offensive coordinator, Rob Ryan, the defensive coordinator, Joe Avisano, special teams. He's got guys that he's got confidence in, and then he even checks in with Ryan, who came from New England, the Super Bowl champs, just to make sure they're doing everything right.
You know, we've talked about different, really terrific play callers in this game. I said Mike Holmgren, I think, is a terrific one, and he runs that quote-unquote West Coast style of offense. Norv Turner is another one. I mean, you look at the running games that he's been able to develop, but you get a lot of big plays out of the running games, and we've seen it tonight. Other than Peyton Manning, Kerry Collins has thrown more 20-yard passes than anybody in this league.
Well, the thing about Norv Turner is when you sit down and you talk to him, you can see the passion. And we know we do that with Gruden. But Norv Turner is one of those guys that is really smart. I mean, he knows his offense. He is a smart coach.
And he grew up 20 miles from here.
Right.
I mean, this is a dream come true for him. He's coaching at home.
Wherever he's been, he's always had a very close relationship with his quarterback. Troy Aikman, for example. Brad Johnson, for example.
Jay Fiedler down in Miami.
Right.
They're going for it on 4th down, and they're in their own territory, Tampa.
They need about 1.5 yards. Johnson lobs it outside, and they have it. Dave Moore made the reception.
I mean, the score is 30-12, and you're 18 down. But you just got to love. I mean, you have to go for it. Every series is 4-down situations because you're inside 8.5 minutes.
You had to go for it.
Yes. But I kind of like the call.
Flag on the play. I thought so. Michael Clayton, the target.
I think he was a target in more ways than one.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Pass interference. Defense number 21. Automatic first down.
Nami Asamoah. Close. Asamoah.
That's close.
It's Asamoah is what it is.
I'll give you close.
Way to go, Pat.
Nami Asamoah.
I didn't say it.
He just took you off the hook.
Just catching stuff. What you pointed at me for then? What did you say?
Iowa hadn't figured it out yet. Over the head of Allstott. Through his hands, almost picked off.
That ball was not over his head. That ball was fired right through his hands. Allstott turned. The ball was there. He didn't see it. Brad Johnson was just trying to fire a ball downfield. And I'll tell you what, it's got to be a frightening feeling when you make a turnaround and all of a sudden here comes the ball. It's already there. You haven't turned yet.
Brad Johnson in the top 3 in career pass percentage completions. He's in an offense now where they're throwing the ball more than they have in the past.
2nd and 10. They show blitz. He just does get rid of it. Caught by Schrader.
This is incredible.
Yeah.
Tim Brown thinks that he's going to make this catch, and all of a sudden, Bill Schrader just comes in underneath and makes the reception. You talk about 2 receivers being in the same place at the same time.
And 5 defensive backs were there. There were 5 defensive backs.
I think somebody hit this on the way out, didn't he?
Now, here's Tim Brown. Now, that should be pass interference. It's not. Tim Brown is looking around, but behind him, there's Schrader right behind him, making the catch.
Yeah, Tim Brown was trying to get a call.
Yeah. First down, Bucks. Johnson drops. Lobs it deep. Passes. Dropped. Almost intercepted.
Asamoah.
Asamoah.
You got it.
I knew I had it.
When you two guys get this name all straightened out, let me know, will you?
It is right. It's Asamoah.
Did you say it about last week? Why is this guy playing football with that name?
There's one.
But this should have been intercepted. I mean, that is the perfect pass.
That's too easy.
Well, that's another reason why he's on defense.
And also a backup corner to Philip
right.
Buchanan.
Allstott had to make adjustments just as soon as he got the ball. And let's go quickly to Chris Berman.
All right, Pat, thank you. We have a touchdown in Miami. Ben Roethlisberger first working a Plexico burst, then Hines Ward now on the run. Nice play. Dave wants that challenge. The touchdown held up. Look at the pass. Look at the catch. 13-3 Pittsburgh, Pat.
All right, Chris, thank you. Back in Oakland. 3rd and long for the Buccaneers. Brad Johnson has had a rough night, but has hung in there like the champion he is. Fumble. Nothing doing.
And there's a flag on the play.
Charles Woodson is playing with so much enthusiasm. No matter who gets a sack or if something happens, he is bouncing around this football field.
Offside, defense number 24 in the neutral zone at the snap.
Yeah, he was coming.
5-yard penalty.
That's why he's bouncing around.
Third down.
He was coming after Brad Johnson. I mean, he's so much more involved in trying to put pressure. He has 1 sack already. There you see him coming around the corner. Now he knows he might have another sack. He is just flying. Now here's a guy who's got the franchise tag on him. Didn't spend much time in camp. But boy, he's playing with a lot of juice.
All stop behind Johnson. Pressure coming, and he's hit by Tyler Brayton just as he let it go. The arm was coming forward.
Well, I tell you, this is one of those deals where you think you get a quarterback that can lose his arm. Tyler Brayton comes in, and Brad Johnson is stepping up. Here comes 91. Actually, he's not really being blocked. And when you hit the quarterback's arm there, almost at his elbow, look at this. I mean, that can hurt. Todd Stussy never touched him.
They only rushed 3. I mean, they just rushed the nose guy and 2 ends.
Gramatica is going to try a field goal from 44 yards out, right on the edge of the infield.
The game clock, operator, please reset the game clock to 6:11. That was an incomplete pass. The clock should have stopped on the incomplete pass. 6:11. Thank you.
Tony Correnni's been busy tonight.
Yes, he has.
Done a good job, though. I mean, does a good job of letting us know what's going on. And I thought this is a very high-energy game to officiate.
Plenty of distance.
The kick is
No good. Gramatica was wide. And the score remains 30-12.
Hey, they're playing good football.
Kurt Warner playing good football.
Amazing what a win will do, isn't it?
Or 2. Right now,
not much here for Fargus. Let's go down to Susie.
Well, the rematch of Super Bowl 37 has been about big plays and one quarterback knocked out. Rich Gannon, x-rays on his back negative, but his status remains uncertain. Kerry Collins comes in 16 of 27 for 228 yards and a touchdown, spreading it around 11 different receivers. That ties a team record. And Tim Brown with touchdown catch number 100. He joins an elite group, only the 4th player in NFL history to make that list of 100.
2nd and 9. Collins gives to Zeraway. Zeraway shoved out of bounds. Derrick Brooks, as we've been telling you, is wired, and here's the sound of the hit on Rich Gannon earlier.
Outside, baby. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Tell him to slide, Frank. Tell him to slide. Gannon got to slide. Oh, if he don't slide, he free game. I hope he all right. I hope he all right, though.
Isn't that amazing? And now, see, he said you got to slide. If he doesn't slide, he's free game. But how about tagging it? And he says, I hope he's all right.
Yeah, and the other thing is, it looks like Richie wanted to slide. I didn't think he expected Derrick to be there quite as quickly as he was. So he got sort of in the middle. You know, now you ask yourself the question. I mean, we've talked about Tampa Bay and whether Brad Johnson should be, and I believe he should be the quarterback, or does Chris Sims play? You know, with Rich Gannon, what's going to be his condition now? And Kerry Collins came here to do basically what he's doing, to be the quarterback. Remember, the Raiders, when they lost Rich Gannon last year, went through 4 other quarterbacks looking for a win. They only threw 9 touchdown passes through the entire year. Now they've got somebody who can play as a starter for them.
So if Rich Gannon is all right, he's a starter.
Collins to Zeraway. He gets 2 or 3. Clock runs meantime with 4:10 left to play, and Oakland comfortably ahead.
You know, you wonder why Tampa Bay would try a 40-some-yard field goal in that position, but they had to get what they're in their minds. They were thinking, all right, it's 30-12. We get it to 15. At least we're only 2 touchdowns and 1 two-pointer to get back and get it tied.
Yeah.
Even as bad as things were going, you're still thinking ahead in the game. Anything could happen in a football game. Well, and it didn't happen.
You know, and this week they got a chance to see Warren Sapp. Next week, Tampa goes up against Denver, and they get a chance to see John Lynch.
They are not now, nor have they ever been, a good come-from-behind team. Collins just slides down.
Yeah, Kerry Collins is not going to be confused with Donovan McNabb or Dante Culpepper when it comes to running.
Now, Simeon Rice gets a sack, doesn't he?
Yep, he would be the closest.
Yeah, he's the guy that touches them.
You see the problems the Bucs have had. They've won 1 road game in the past 15 seasons after trailing by 8 points. This is not an offense that is built to come from behind. They need games to be close, and especially this year. You really have to ask the question, will Keenan McCardell be a guy that's going to be able to join this football team and help out this Tampa Bay offense at any point in the season? Personally, I don't think so.
You're about to witness the first Oakland Raider punt of the evening. Tim Brown, who scored his 100th touchdown a few moments ago, back to field it.
And this is a great punter right here. Can't let that.
The best. A lot of power. Tim Brown stayed away from it, and it's downed at about the 5, a 51-yard punt. Harrell down at Sunday stud. Who had today's top performance? John Carney, Jamal Lewis, Peyton Manning, Donovan McNabb, or Randy Moss?
Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning, Sunday stud, and that could be said a lot of weeks. McNabb second, Randy Moss, Carney, and Jamal Lewis. Why did you say you can't give it to a kicker?
He doesn't like kickers.
He doesn't kick them.
Tell the truth. You don't like kickers.
He's a kicker himself.
I know, that's what. He thinks he's
I was
the only
a punter.
kicker.
There's a difference.
Well,
You were a kicker.
yes, I was, and there is a difference.
I was a punter.
There you were.
Pass complete. Michael Clayton made the catch from Johnson.
The thing about the Raiders that people have to consider is that this football team, it's brand new on offense, new philosophy on offense, new philosophy on defense and special teams. As the season goes on, if they can stay healthy, this Raiders football team should get better and better and better.
Johnson back. Incomplete.
That's a flag.
There it is coming. Clayton, the intended receiver again. DeLawrence Grant.
Well, Lawrence Grant whacked him.
280-pound linebacker.
Number 59. Automatic. First down.
Well, you have to remember, Rob Ryan's defensive ends and linebackers, they're built a lot like New England's. New England's defensive, or their linebackers, have been defensive ends before. You know, DeLawrence Grant, you know, at 280 pounds. We've seen LeVon Kirkland at what, 285?
Something like that.
290 do it.
Here's Johnson back to throw again, and he drops it to Jameel White, I believe, or Torrey Cox. Jameel White. Two and a half minutes left.
This is one of those times in the game where if you're the Raiders defensively, all you're thinking about is keep them inbound, keep the clock running.
Well, the longest pass that Brad Johnson has thrown, I think, in this half was the one he threw the touchdown pass to Tim Brown.
Got some time. Pass is caught. Michael Clayton, 26-yard pickup. Got the 2-minute warning coming up. And there it is.
Adam Sandler down on the field before. Neat guy. What a neat guy he is. And there's another neat guy, North Turner, and another one in Derrick Brooks.
And another one.
And not very happy neat guy.
I don't think he was very happy with me yesterday. He says, you know, you don't have a whole lot of weapons. And he looked at me like...
He wanted to punch you.
He's going to hit me in the mouth.
Brown on the move. Johnson back. Lofts it deep. Diving catch, touchdown. Bill Schrader, I'm sorry. 41-yard strike from Brad Johnson. Good catch, good throw.
I said he hadn't thrown the ball deep, except for the pass before this one, and then this pass to Schrader. And they got Schrader one-on-one coverage down the middle of the field, again down the middle of the field. And this is a terrific throw.
Is it ever?
And then Schrader just waits and waits. Look at here. Just perfectly thrown. Ray Buchanan.
Up over the outside right shoulder for the touchdown. Does a great job of cradling the ball.
Yes, he does.
Holding on to it as tight as he can.
They're going for 2 again.
Johnson is 22 out of 36. Throws again. Pass complete to Dilger. 22 out of 36 for 309 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 intercept. Pretty good night for losing cause. Kick.
Oh, yeah.
Why is that?
Because you could just flat hammer somebody. I mean, if you're up in that, you know, like the blockers up there.
Yep.
A couple of the tight ends and the linebackers. If you watch those guys, they'll just, because the ball usually goes to the left or right, wherever they kick it out. And they can just go up and just label somebody.
Well, you know, there's an art to this onside kicking. I know you have complete disdain for kickers, but there's an art to this.
What do you think the key is, Pat? I mean, does it drive it down into the ground and get it to bounce high?
I've seen it done that way.
Or try and hit it like you do a flop shot?
I would try to hit it like I did a flop shot. They go quickly, and they flop it. Let's quickly go again to Chris Berman.
All right, Pat, thank you. Steeler defense chipping in. Joey Porter with a shot from behind, and A.J. Feely doesn't feel he's so goody. James Ferrier on the ball, and it's a final now. The Pittsburgh Steelers behind Roethlisberger win 13-3. Dolphins haven't been 0-3 since 1969. George Wilson head coach. The next year, Don Shula got there. The rest, a little history, boys.
George Wilson was the head coach?
Yeah, it's ugly in Miami.
It really is.
I mean, we talk about offensive problems with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and what do they want to do and how do they try and overcome it. I think Miami's newness is their problem down there, and how do they overcome it?
Well, I'm looking at the Tampa Bay deal, and, well,
movement in the backfield.
In the backfield. That was Zach Crockett, I think, number 32 to move.
Offense, number 32. 5-yard penalty remains first down.
The NFC South. Atlanta 3-0. Does that surprise you?
Yeah, a little bit. Actually, what surprised me is how well Arizona played today, and Atlanta only beat them 6-3.
New Orleans in overtime won today over the Rams.
Right where they are. Of course, Carolina, you see how the year has to go. Stephen Davis out 2 to 4 weeks, and Steve Smith is gone for the year, I believe.
They have a bye.
They need a bye.
They do, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Gruden's never been 0-3 in his 7 years as a head coach.
The AFC West, 2-1. The Raiders tied with Denver 2-1. San Diego 1-2.
And who's the surprise here?
Kansas City is a surprise to me.
Yeah, it is. And we're gonna get the Raiders in Denver. In November?
Oakland, right? Oakland goes into Denver.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. Raiders in Denver, at Denver.
That's a good job by that secondary. Number 31 standing there is Phillip Buchanan. Interception for a touchdown. Kerry Collins coming and done what he was supposed to do. I thought the pickup of Kerry Collins here for the Raiders was key, especially all the problems they went through when they lost Rich Gannon last year. No stability at the quarterback position. Now you've got a Super Bowl quarterback.
And a Super Bowl quarterback, 2 of them.
Yep.
Joe, you said when you talked to him his biggest concern at the moment was his weight?
Yeah, but by being inactive, he's a big guy anyway. I mean, Kerry goes 245, and now he's on a different type of a weight program. Hasn't really had a chance to work out a lot during practices, so trying to keep himself physically fit, and it just doesn't want to get too big.
Tyrone Whitley.
Ian Gold, number 52 of the Tampa defense, one of the new additions to that group.
Well, you don't sit around, pushing and shoving, because what happens is they don't mark the ball and the clock keeps running. The score is 30-20, and they can't stop the clock. Tampa Bay can't stop it again.
$30-20 a minute.
Raiders are down to 5 seconds. It's going to have to snap it and get it going.
Wheatley again. Had a big run, a 60-yarder at the beginning of the game.
Tyrone Wheatley is a guy who's, I guess you could say, reinvented himself again. The Raiders had 52 workouts, organized workouts, that they were required to be a part of. And he made 54. He put the time in to really get himself into shape and give himself a chance to come in and compete to be the back in Norv Turner and Jimmy Ray's offense.
Well, he'll keep that responsibility. 18 carries, 103 yards for Tyrone Wheatley tonight. And that's going to do it. It's going to be a long, long trip back to Tampa Bay.
Well, it'll be a 5-yard penalty.
And you don't think Keenan McCardell will be back then? I do.
I do not believe that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will give Keenan McCardell what he's asking for. If Keenan McCardell comes back in and he's losing $156,000 a week, if he comes back in, it will not be with a contract the size of the one he wants. The Bucs are in bad cap situations.
They simply say they can't afford it.
And they can't afford to do it. And remember, they sat Keyshawn Johnson at the end of the season last year, and they gave him a lot of money, gave up 2 number 1s to get him. Not to mention what they gave up to get their coach, John Gruden.
Second punt of the night. This one sails into the end zone. 3 seconds left. 50-yard kick. And with 3 seconds to go, will they try one more play? I wonder.
Oh, yeah, there's no quit. Norv Turner still coaching. Say, you don't need to kick it in the end zone. Norv's one of those guys that you root for, too. He and Gruden, 2 good guys in this game.
Three seconds. Straight ahead. All stop. Looking for somebody to hit. So the final score, the Raiders 30, the Buccaneers 20.